Hello everyone, I'm Ruponti Wazid, and you're watching Gen B Diaspora Diary on Thikana TV. This is where we bring you the stories of a new generation, young, bold, and driven individuals from our Bangladeshi diaspora here in New York City. From corporate careers to entrepreneurship, and tradition to transformation, these are the voices shaping the future while staying rooted in their heritage. Let's dive into today's story. Here with me is Ridwan Alam, a man of many different talents and facets. He is the host of Bitcoinomics21 Podcast. He breaks down complex economic concepts and Bitcoin for everyday people. He is also a passionate community builder and is a part of Deshi, an organization that is actively shaping the Bangladeshi diaspora, where they have essential conversations around our culture and mental health. Hello, Ridwan. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
So, about your background. Where are you from? How did you get into Bitcoin?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit about my background, where I grew up and whatnot. So I grew up in Virginia and then went through the entire traditional route of going to college, got an engineering degree, etc. And then I actually started to look into Bitcoin back end of 2017. And that's not when I initially invested per se. It was just when I started touching into it more. And it was just something that I found very fascinating, especially because it was, what is Bitcoin? Why does it matter? And then it really took me back to the entire financial system, why 2008 happened, why that crash happened, and Bitcoin's white paper actually came out October 31st, 2008. So it's just the timing of it all. So that's why I really got into Bitcoin, because it really taught me about the current financial system and the certain pitfalls that we have. Obviously, we've gotten it to this place, but then Bitcoin kind of picks up where it falls through, I would say. So anyways, that's where it all started, and then just kind of started my own podcast eventually.
So what is Bitcoin?
Great question. That's a fantastic question. All Bitcoin is just digital money. Okay. That's it. It's just currency. It's just like the USD. It's just like the Chinese yuan, Great British pound, just like those are fiat currencies, meaning paper money. This is just digital currency. That's all it is. You can actually use Bitcoin to buy and sell, but then typically right now it's more utilized as an investment and then more as a reserve currency. So kind of like gold. Gold would be seen more as a reserve currency. So that's kind of what Bitcoin is now.
So if you were to explain this to a brown auntie or uncle.
Oh yeah, my favorite.
How would you break this down to them? If I was your auntie right now, and I was like, Ridwan, baba bolo, Bitcoin ki. How would you break this down?
That's আমি বলতাম আচ্ছা আন্টি আপনি যেমন ভাবে সব গয়নাগাটি আপনি ব্যাংকে রাখেন আর আপনার বিছানার তলায় রাখেন ইনভেস্টিং এর জন্য বিটকয়েন একই জিনিস বিটকয়েন হলো একটা ইনভেস্টমেন্ট টুল আর কিছু না ইটস জাস্ট আ রিজার্ভ কারেন্সি যেমন ভাবে আমাদের মা আন্টিরা সবাই গয়নাগাটি কিনে এতো গোল্ড সবকিছু কিনে আর ওসব ওরা ধরে রাখে এতো জেনারেশনস এর জন্য বিটকয়েন একই জিনিস just in a digital format. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. So এখন বলো, why is investing important, and specifically in Bitcoin? Why should our Bangladeshi community know and look into these things?
Yeah, absolutely. So investing in general is just a very important thing, whether you're in the corporate world and you invest in your 401k, your Roth IRA, or whether you're doing individual stocks, whether you're investing in the S&P 500, you should be investing regardless. That's how you grow your money.
Yes.
And living in a capitalist society, you need to be doing that, especially from a young age. So if you just graduate from college and you have a corporate job, start investing immediately. You don't have to go crazy with it, but just start investing. Why is that important? It's to grow your money. In a capitalist society, the entire point is to grow your money. And so if you just hold your dollar in, let's say, a traditional savings account, you might get 4% yield interest right now, which is great. In a checking account, probably nothing, but you want to continue to grow that money. So investing gives you the best way to do that. Now, why invest in Bitcoin? Well, as I alluded to, the modern banking system, or let's call it the current day banking system, it has gotten us to this point as a society, which has been great, but there are current pitfalls to it. And so that's where Bitcoin kind of plugs in a little bit, and it solutions to those problems, I would say. And so as far as investing in Bitcoin goes, look, people have been investing into it for about 17 years, 16 years now. And so it's in top 10 assets in the world. So gold is still number one. It's at about 20 trillion. And then Bitcoin as a whole is around 2 trillion. And I remember about 7 years ago, Bitcoin was around 200 billion. So what that basically means is all the Bitcoin combined was worth $200 billion. Now it's worth around $2 to $3 trillion.
Wow.
So it only keeps growing. And so you want to invest in something that grows your money. So that's why, if you look at it from an investment standpoint, Bitcoin is a good investment, but obviously do your own research regarding that. And obviously there are many other reasons you should invest in Bitcoin, but investing wise, as far as growing your money wise, that's why. It's only grown for the past 17 years.
Wow. So, okay, going back to your engineering degree now.
Yeah, absolutely. Pivot,
engineering degree, and then not an engineer. Or were you an engineer?
No, I was an engineer for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked as an engineer for 4 years.
But now you're not.
I'm not. I'm a data scientist. I have my own AI and data science consultancy.
All right. So, okay, tell me a little bit about that, because these are not traditional pathways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it usually starts out doctoral or engineer, and then, yes, like, you stay within being an engineer.
Yeah.
So, no shame at all, by the way. I'm Inatukuri, so I don't judge. Like, but... you know, to not stay as an engineer, was there a reason for that? And like why you went into AI and now Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So I got the engineering degree just because, actually I got an engineering degree because I had to choose a major. And so I clicked the little scroll bar of selecting majors. And I was like, oh, engineering looks good. And that was it. I selected it, hit submit, and then away we went. Got my engineering degree, did it for 4 years. I did enjoy it because I used to work in manufacturing and I would help manufacturing facilities become more efficient. And so one of my life mantras is doing more with less. So this kind of just went into that. Wow. But it was very traditional as far as the engineering that I was doing, very traditional. So at that point, I actually pivoted to solar. So I was doing sales in renewables in solar. But that wasn't as technical for me, and I wanted to get into something more technical. So around the same time that I discovered Bitcoin, I was listening to this podcast. So this podcast actually was talking about, oh, like you need to learn how to code. Everybody needs to learn how to code. And I remember taking a bunch of coding classes when I was younger, and I hated it. I didn't understand it. Once I saw what Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies were doing, and then once the data science and tech field started to boom a little bit more, I was like, oh, like, you know what? This is actually pretty interesting. And I realized with coding, you can create a lot. Bitcoin is just all code, right?
Yeah.
So actually thousands of developers out there are just coding Bitcoin and coding the network and whatnot. And so while witnessing that and then starting to do my own projects, I realized, wow, with coding, I actually can build stuff of my own. And so that's when it kind of just clicked. I did a data science boot camp, and then I became a data scientist for a couple of years, and now I have my own consultancy. So that was it. I realized with coding, I can create a lot, and I wanted to be creative. So that's why.
Was there ever like any feedback, negative feedback? Because that's the juicy stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, like going from the switch, you know, from like, okay, I'm going to stop engineering and do, you know, other things. Was there ever anything that your parents or like aunties and uncles said, like, "Keno ba?" Like, taka gotay?
Oh my God, say less. Say less. No, my parents are obviously okay with me now doing certain things, and they always typically have been. But obviously, yeah, they're definitely a little worried when I just dropped my traditional engineering job that brought in my steady paycheck, and it was a good job and whatnot. And yeah, they're definitely like, "What on earth? Like, what's happening right now?" But then they realize I'm a pretty free spirit in the sense of, okay, I'm gonna try to do that interests me, do things that interest me. So I'd gone down the traditional route, went to college, did all that, got an engineering degree, did an engineering job, and then something just was not, I would say, just satisfying that need. Yeah, so that's why I made the pivot. But questions-wise, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, you know, in our tradition, it's go to college, get an engineer or get a job, and then after that, just continue to move on up the corporate ladder. But then you start looking at the corporate ladder here, and it's like, dude, am I really going to be satisfied doing that? Exactly. And so I really had to make a pivot at that point, because I knew that it would just like eat away at me if I did do that. And even with data science, I did try, you know, I worked for a corporate company, but eventually I was like, what am I doing right now? And obviously doing my own business now, it's still risky, and I still have those moments of what am I doing, but at least it's, well, I'm blazing my own trail, and this is on me at this point. So I think as my parents see me going through these progressions, initially like, what's the matter with him? Why are you like this? which also, my parents are also entrepreneurs. Oh wow! By the way, so if they ever ask, like, well, I appreciate the influence. So yeah,
that's awesome. So then, how is it like from Virginia to New York? What is like the differences, challenges? I'm going to keep asking about challenges.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, what have you had to overcome pursuing what you were pursuing there versus here?
Yeah, so my part of Virginia that I grew up in, Newport News, Virginia, like by Virginia Beach, it's obviously a lot different than New York City, way more different. A lot of places are, and it's just, just like, slower pace and whatnot. And if you're not trying to, you could just kind of settle and cruise if you really wanted to, which is fun. It's a good life, right? So I would say that's the biggest difference. You come to New York City, like, you better come here to hustle. Yeah. So, like, when I came here, the first time I actually lived in New York City, I did not enjoy it so much. That's an understatement if you ask my old friends. But the second time I came around, I came with intentionality. So যখন আমি এখানে আসলাম তখন আমি মনে করলাম আচ্ছা আমি তো আসবো এখানে নিয়ে like AI data science কাজ করতে, তারপর Bitcoin আর crypto scene এর মধ্যে আরো ঢুকতে, কারণ সিনটা এখানে বেশ বড় আছে, especially with all the legislation that's been passing this past summer. So এবার যখন আসলাম আমার intentionality ছিল, so I would say that. And so with here, there's a lot more opportunity as far as, okay, like if you want to pursue certain things, you definitely can.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you just show up here and you're like, oh, like I'll figure it out, you can still do it. It's still a good like exploration area, but it's difficult. So this is my second time around, so I already knew certain things. It's like, oh, আমি এখানে আসবো এটা করতে, not that, but do this, etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about AI and like the stigmas behind it in the Bangladeshi community specifically, and like how you're navigating that as you work in AI.
Yeah, that's a good question. As far as the stigmas within, making me think over here. Stigmas within AI. I think in a certain way, I don't know if this is necessarily a stigma, but it's like AI taking over, right? সবাই বলতেছে, oh, AI তো এটা নিয়ে নিচ্ছে, AI তো ওটা নিয়ে নিচ্ছে. Very true. Certain jobs are definitely going away because certain things have been made easier with the utilization of these AI tools. So yeah, however, because of that, there's actually physical and more laborious jobs that are yielding more demand now, which is interesting. So this isn't even within the Bangladeshi community, but within the entire American diaspora as a whole. So let's say things such as, being a plumber, being an electrician, being a handyman and whatnot, all those things, or even if you have your own landscaping business. Bangladeshi people in our community will probably look down on that, but those sorts of jobs actually have more job security now, or the job security is increasing. Or even if you're like a welder, আগে তো মানুষেরা ওটা দেখে মনে করতো এটা কি ধরনের কাজ, তাই না? It's like কলেজ যাও, এটা করো, ওটা করো, but কিন্তু ওসব চাকরি তো ওরকম ধরনের চাকরি তো এখন চলে যাচ্ছে.
Yeah.
Not all of it, like it's like slowly decreasing, right? So kids that were going down that route, now it's okay, it's like, have you considered going to a trade school? Becoming an electrician, doing all those things, because those are the sorts of jobs that right now AI probably won't take away. Later on down the line, I mean, once the robots and stuff, I don't know, I can't speak for that.
Yeah.
But as of right now, those are the sorts of jobs that people should consider, I'd say.
That's where like the money is, or will be, as we keep going.
That's definitely, if you're an electrician, you're definitely going to make good money. Welder, for sure. These are very high-level craftsmanship. If you're a plumber, you have your own landscaping business. So, yeah, I would say so. It's not just money, but more like security. That's the biggest thing, I would say.
Okay. So knowing a lot about money,
Yeah.
and now I want to go into like the stigmas about money within the Bangladeshi community.
Yeah.
Like not just making money, but everything with how Bangladeshis, I think, view money.
Yeah.
Like coming to America, like the land of opportunity, you know, like having that American dream that they want to build, right? Like what in your experience have you seen and heard about from that like you think Bangladeshis could be doing better, especially like our parents? You know, like you were talking about Roth IRA and 401k, like if you could break these things down in like the most simplistic way, like you're talking to your auntie again, like how would you do these things? You know, kind of like a blueprint that you could give someone.
Absolutely. So আমাদের মা বাবারা আর সবাই তো চিন্তা করে আচ্ছা তুমি আমেরিকাতে আসবে তারপর তুমি কলেজে যাবে তারপর তুমি একটা ভালো চাকরি পাবে and then that's it. That's not a bad route. It's a pretty good route. However, regarding money though, it's like you have to understand you need to have your, and this is going back to my original point, you have to make your money grow.
Yes.
So মানুষজনরা খালি মনে করে আচ্ছা আমি খালি like এই টাকাটা কামাবো তারপর একটু খরচ করব তারপর একটু বাঁচাবো. That's it. Fine. But again, we live in a capitalist world. This is a capitalist society, so you have to invest that money.
Yes.
And so I think that's where we fall by the wayside as a community. We don't talk about investments enough sometimes. We just talk about, we talk about, you know, paycheck and all this stuff, and maybe like, let's start a business and whatnot. Not a bad idea. But sometimes the simplest thing you can do is literally just investing your money into a 401k. I used to do all that. I was big into 401ks and Roth IRAs, obviously before I got into Bitcoin and cryptos, and then I looked into the financial system. But those are just very simple things. A 401k is your paycheck before taxes. Obviously you'll pay taxes on it eventually down the line, but it's before taxes, and you can there's a cap you can put into it every year, but fill up to that cap. Roth IRA, same thing. There's a cap you can put into it, and it's just another investment retirement account. That's all it is. And I don't think we talk about those things enough. The reason I became aware of it was because আমার প্রথম corporate job-এ ওরা like sessions করতে, classes করতে, it's like আচ্ছা এটা তোমার 401k, যদি তুমি করতে চাও একটা Roth IRA করা যায়. So it's like আমি ওসব দেখে like শিখলাম. I was like, okay, right. And it's like a lot of my friends at work were Americans, so I just like watched them do it, like, okay, yeah, I'll do the same thing. And then I actually had an uncle who talked to me about a Roth IRA for a while, and then eventually like, okay, I need to do it. But yeah, so going back to the auntie analogy, আমি একই জিনিস বলতাম, it's like আচ্ছা আপনি গয়না তো আপনি বাঁচাচ্ছেন আপনি বাচ্চাদের জন্য, আর এটা তো আপনার ইনভেস্টমেন্ট, তাই না? আর অনেক মানুষদের তো প্রপার্টি আছে এত দেশে, তাই না? একই জিনিস, ওরা তো প্রপার্টি কিনতেছে, গোল্ড কিনতেছে to raise the value, right, as an investment. Same thing with 401ks, Roth IRAs, and these like traditional investment accounts. It's the exact same thing. You just want to grow your money, you want to grow your wealth. That's the biggest thing.
Thank you for talking about this, because there's so much I hear from my aunties and uncles where it's like they're always thinking about money right now, right? Like I'm akhon taka lagbe, but you're talking about building that generational wealth. Right? Not just for them, but their kids.
Precisely.
Like keeping that legacy alive of like, hey, we're going to continue. Like that is, well, I don't know too much about the American dream, but from my understanding of it, like that should be the dream of like, hey, I want to invest for like myself and my future. Those after me. So it's really important stuff. Do you have anything else to add about just money in general? Or any last words or like advice you want to say?
As far as all of that goes, just budget. Know where your money's going. That's the biggest thing. Easiest thing to do is just open up a Google Sheets or an Excel document and just write out where's your money going. That's the most important thing. If you don't know where your money is going, how are you going to grow your wealth? Simple. And all you have to do is create it once and then update it once a month, maybe every 2 months. That's fine. Keep it simple.
100% agree. Because I'm always hearing like people being like, oh, my taka koi jai, taka shop chole geche. Like they don't know where it went because they're spending it so mindlessly. So very important stuff. Okay, that was one thing I wanted to talk to you about. A lot of just financial literacy. Now I want to move on to you and community organizing with Deshi. So this network speak on about like some of the biggest opportunities and like disconnects that you see with our diaspora today and how Deshi is helping.
Yeah, absolutely. so entire point of it is just to lift the entire Bangladeshi diaspora. And so with this, just in general, with what I've been doing, it's really been simple on my regard. It's just organizing community events. That's really it. I did initial one, had a lot of volunteers and whatnot. We did like a iftar right here. And so I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out, but then afterwards people were like, oh, like, thank you for doing this, like, really appreciate it, and they seem to really enjoy it. So I was like, okay, like, people are really looking for these sort of spaces. And I wasn't really sure because I had just moved back to New York City. So আমি তো চিন্তা করতেছি আচ্ছা আমি তো একটা ইফতার করতে চাই, এটা তো রামাদান, like একটু like, you know, একটু ফুর্তি করি. But I mean, like, I didn't realize how much it would mean to people. So it's really, from my vantage point, it's really that, giving people a space just to kind of come together as Bangladeshis.
Yes.
And I've, like, growing up, I grew up like in a white and black community, and then it was like going to college, it was like more Indian, and then before it was more involved with the Pakistani community and whatnot. But then this is the first time that I'm really being involved on my accord with the Bangladeshi community. And I'm realizing people are craving this. They're craving these spaces. They're craving connectivity with their own culture. Even if, let's say that they grew up like me, oh, I was connected with my culture because my mom was a community organizer. I know, ironic. So, but it wasn't the same as it is now because I am now seeking it. And I realized a lot other people are seeking it as well. So I thought, okay, well, why not try to curate these spaces together? So yeah.
It's so needed because, like, I've been to Deshi events and it's like just finding other Bangladeshis that are also doing so many different things than you, especially like in New York. It's so cool to see people of all like different ages and backgrounds just like coming and joining me like, hey, we have this one thing in common, being Bangladeshi and in New York. And that all comes with its like own struggles. So like, what have you seen through Deshi or just in general with Bangladeshi New Yorkers of like some struggles that they face?
That's a great question.
I'll talk about like good things in a bit. I'm talking a lot.
No, that's fine. As far as like struggles go, as far as like Bangladeshis go, I think it's like maybe just the identity, and I'll kind of speak from my vantage point. I think the identity part of it, as far as like young Bangladeshis go, they grew up here, they grew up in America, they grew up in New York City, they grew up in Virginia. Obviously, New York has a lot of Bangladeshi influence. But even then, it's like what's happening now is different because I feel like a lot of people maybe were missing that before, and it's almost like a cultural identity shift type of thing. I would say that's the biggest thing. Challenge that we're trying to overcome right now, because it was like before, like, you're South Asian, it's like, oh, you're Indian, it's like, no, I'm not Indian, I'm Bangladeshi. It's like, oh, you're Pakistani, it's like, no, I'm Bangladeshi. And so now, I'm not saying I wasn't before, but now it's like different. It's like I'm proudly saying, no, I'm Bengali, I'm Bangladeshi, like these are my roots. I'm not those countries. We're similar, there's similarities. Sure, we're part of South Asian subcontinent, sure, we're all Deshi, but we still have our own culture. We still have our own roots. And I think a lot of people are just not just discovering that, but I think we're feeling more connected through it day by day. So it's been nice.
I agree, because when you hear other people like Shala Manush talk about like South Asians, they're not thinking about Bangladeshis.
No, not at all.
They're only thinking about mainly Indians, right? So, and Pakistanis even. So it's like, we Bangladeshis having a safe space like this is so needed to just be like, okay, we can just be us and mean these things about us and not be grouped and categorized. So I love all of the work that you're doing with that. And now, what does it mean to like have solidarity among young Bangladeshi-Americans beyond just networking?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing is just showing up and supporting each other. Whether it's at community events or whether it's, you know, your play that you're performing at, whether it's that or whether it's Pahela Boishak, there are events for that, like Boni Bengalis of New York just did an event for that, like going out and supporting, right? I think that's what it means, just showing up for each other right now.
Yes.
And even going to each other's Instagram pages and like giving like a little like and a little comment and stuff. So it's like we feel like we're supporting each other, because that's the most important thing right now. A lot of these things are converging all at the same time. Me and a friend were actually talking about this. There's definitely something special happening. I've never really felt this within the Bangladeshi diaspora before. I lived in New York City about 7-8 years ago. I didn't experience this, and obviously I was kind of out of the scene, but even then, there like organizations, Boni was just getting started then, and obviously Deshi technically wasn't around then at the time, and then even other organizations, even if you look at Bhalo, the nonprofit Bangladeshi organization, it's like I don't think they were around at the time. So it's like now everyone's like kind of converging and doing things together. And I feel like when we see another organization do it, we're like, oh, like maybe I should do something. Oh, but I'm gonna go support that. Or maybe I should do something here. So it's like cool. It's like cool seeing all that. But I think that's the most important thing, outside of just networking and doing all that. Just like show up at these events. Just show up, even if it's for a little bit, just to show that, hey, like I'm here to support you.
Exactly.
That's it. Even if you have no idea what's going on, it's like, hey, like because you're part of this diaspora, like I want to support you, and I hope you'll support me in what I do.
Yeah. And that's how you build community.
1000%. If
you show up, because everyone's like, I want my village. I want like people and want to find those, and you do it by showing up. Because it's not competition. No. And I think in Bangladeshi culture, there's a lot of, comparing to your cousins and like, A make ki korteche, we make ki korteche. But it's like, hey, we make ki korteche, onek bhalo korteche. How can we be like her instead of trying to beat her, right? And I love that Deshi and all of these other platforms you're talking about, Boni and Bhalo, like they all do that. Like we're trying to uplift each other and show that, hey, we're in this together, not against each other. So amazing work with organizing. Thank you for all that you do.
Absolutely.
Now I want to move on to you talking about mental health. Specifically mental health and marriage, topics that get swept under the rug in Bangladeshi culture. And that are like very taboo, so much stigma between like, etni kotha bolo na, like listen to the man, a lot of patriarchy, right? So like, I want to hear about you and how like our generation can navigate these conversations better while still honoring our roots. Yeah, and that's definitely a hard thing to do, just because traditionally our culture is not known for speaking about mental health or anything of the sort. I think one thing is, and this is something that I'll suggest because I've done it, is just understanding yourself first. Like understanding, okay, how am I showing up for myself? How am I showing up to relationships, friendships, everything? How am I doing those things? How am I showing up emotionally, mentally, etc.? And so going through those exercises helped me understand, okay, like this is how I am. For right now I'm happy. Right now I'm sad, right now I'm angry, and that's okay. Those are all emotions. Feel all those emotions, like, okay, right now I feel jealous, I feel insecure, okay, right now I feel excited. Feel all of it. It the Bangladesh or Bangladeshi shobai bole, jodi ekjon rag kore, it's like, oh, rag koro na. Ar jodi ekjon kande, oh, kendo na. No, dude, it's fine. It's okay to be angry. Exactly.
It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. Obviously, do it in like a constructive way where you're like releasing that energy. But it's like, it's okay to feel all those things. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. Trying to not feel it is ludicrous, because then you're just turning yourself into a pressure vessel and you're going to explode eventually. We've all done it. Everyone's done it. And our diaspora, like we're all known to do it. So just feel all that. Understand yourself first, whether it's you've identified emotions and then you journal and then you go through therapy, or then you meditate, or then you even pray and prayer is your meditation, whatever it is. Understand yourself first. And then once you do that and understand that, hey, like maybe I should talk to other people about this, but then obviously like do it respectfully, because like I said, our culture, and I'm not the best at this, I'll admit, our culture isn't really known for speaking about mental health, but with this generation we can continue to chip away at that. And that's what's important. We don't need to just, and again, I'm very much guilty of this, like we don't need to like take down entire culture and be like, oh no, like Bangladeshis aren't going to understand this, etc. Change is hard. Talking about difficult things is difficult, obviously. So do it slowly. Understand yourself first, and do it slowly with respect to the people and the culture in general.
why do you think it's so hard about not, like, marriage and just, you know, a lot of these Bangladeshi, for lack of a better term, habits, like, these things that are so taboo, why do you think it's so difficult for a community to talk about them?
It's easier to usher under the rug, or sweep it under the rug. And that's the main reason. And I think a lot of communities do that, whether you're Bangladeshi, whether other South Asian communities or other conservative communities. It's just much easier to sweep it under the rug instead of actually dealing with your skeletons and being like, oh wow, like what happened, or what did they say, or what did I say, what did I do, what did they do? It's much easier just to sweep it under the rug and go about your business. And that's what we've been conditioned to do for generations at this point. That's honestly the reason why. Just because when you talk about these things, you give it life. When you give it life, that means it's something I need to deal with. And rather than deal with it, and obviously, let's just talk about our immigrant parents, like coming over here, their main objective was to make sure that we're okay, we're fed, we're going to school, we're safe, and then we're coming home in one piece, and that's it, right? It's like they didn't have time to talk about mental health and all that stuff. But however, because of what they did and they laid the foundation work, now we can continue to build upon that in a more positive way, continue to do it in a more positive way where we talk about certain things that they weren't able to do. They laid that foundation so that we can continue to build on that and do this.
Very beautifully said, because I was laughing because I was like, the amount of times I've heard my mom and auntie say, like it's just an immediate shutdown.
Yeah.
And that shutdown kind of forces, well, it's not the right way, but it has like habitually then forced us to be like, okay, like we'll just go with whatever you say, right? And now, what about boundaries?
This is something newer to me, and I'm learning this better. I'm learning to set my boundaries along with being able to accept people's boundaries better. Was never really used to that before, so didn't really understand the concept, but I realize now that for myself, if I don't set the boundary, I'm going to get to a place where I might get really sad or really angry, and then I might act a way that I regret. And that's a big thing for me. It's self-preservation, because I know that if I get to this point, okay, that's not good. So I'm going to set my boundary here so the situation doesn't get any worse. So that's why I do it. Now, in practice, I've definitely had to set some boundaries with friends before, where it's just like, hey, like, I don't appreciate you doing this, like X, Y, and Z. We have a good conversation, and that's it. And initially, it was very awkward and difficult, but the more I did it, the more I realized, okay, this is okay. It was awkward and difficult internally. That's what it was. But again, it's just practice. It's just repetition. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. And additionally with that, when people set boundaries with you, and they have with me, the more you're able to accept it of, okay, this is their boundary. I shouldn't cross that. And this is my boundary. They shouldn't cross this. And that's it. So
I love that. And I also think for Bangladeshis, like, it's a lot easier than said, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I'm just thinking back to, like, aunties, uncles, right? Like, just the culture of being like, oh, এটা নিয়ে আর কথা বলবো না, what's done is done. Or like, okay, এটা বলেছে একজন and এটা মেনে নিতে হবে, right? So it goes back to what you're saying of, like, that practice of, like, what advice would you give to someone, you know, younger, talking to their parents or an auntie and uncle that's, like, forcing them to do, you know, pressuring them to, like, do something, whether it's career-wise or really anything, like, jao jao eta koro tomar jonno bhalo, but then deep down, like, the kid or whoever knows, like, this isn't something I want to do, but I'm having to go along with it because it's the culture. Like, what would you say to them about boundaries?
So, definitely set boundaries. However, before doing that, identifying, do you need to set the boundary? And initially, for me, it's, okay, do I feel uncomfortable about this? And so that goes back to the initial of understanding your emotions. আচ্ছা আমি কি এখন আমার কি এখন রাগ লাগতেছে, or আমার কি এখন দুঃখ লাগতেছে, আমি কি এখন খুশি? Like, you have to understand yourself first, right? Or do I feel uncomfortable? Do I feel anxious right now? আমার কি অস্থির লাগতেছে এখন? আচ্ছা আমার কেন অস্থির লাগতেছে? ও এই মানুষে এই কথা বলেছে, ওটার জন্য আমার একটু অস্থির লাগতেছে, আচ্ছা. And then once you identify that, then it's, okay, what can I do with that? And that's when you have to identify, or that's when you have to say, okay, this is my boundary. You've identified your feeling. You've identified you need to set the boundary. But now obviously the difficult part coming towards telling that individual, whether it's that auntie, uncle, ma, baba, jekone hote pare, ekta bondhu, whoever it is, telling them, hey, look, this is my boundary, please just respect it. I didn't appreciate this, X, Y, and Z, and doing that. And initially it's going to be weird and awkward because you don't know how it's going to go. Not to mention, you can't control what that other person's going to do or say. And that's the thing that we have to be accepting of, or doing our best to be accepted of. I can just say what I want to say. How that person reacts, that's on them at that point. And so, and I'm obviously guilty of this. Then it's like, I'm like, oh, like they reacted this way. Did I do something wrong? It's like, no, I should say something back. And then it just escalates, right?
Yeah.
But knowing when you set the boundary, it's our boundary to set kore feletsi. That's it. Whether they respect it or not, that's their decision. If they don't respect it, then I will continue to do what I can in my power to can either distance myself away or set additional boundaries.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Ishab jinish niye like logically jhagda kore niye kono labh nai, hai na? Because it's like then it's like it's just defeating the entire purpose.
Yeah.
A little argument here and there might happen, but if you're just like going back and forth and arguing, then it's like, all right, you need to do what you need to do for yourself, for self-preservation.
Yes.
At that point, you're not going to control that person, and that person is not going to control you. That's just not possible. So do what you need to do for yourself, and it's going to feel weird, it's going to feel awkward, and it's going to feel really uncomfortable, and it's going to feel like you're doing the wrong thing. But if it comes to self-preservation, if you listen to your body, if you listen to your mind, you're doing it for yourself. Just know that. This is for you, and that's what matters the most.
Exactly. I really agree, because there's so much of like, oh, like this person's older than me, like oh tomar boro, tomar elderly, like or kotha shuntei hobe, because that's just become the culture that our parents think, like they see it as disrespect.
Yep.
So us holding our boundaries is something we need to like learn, and also unlearn what our parents are saying of what respect is, right? Like our respect looks different than their respect. So this is really important things to just think about. Yeah. How can like the next generation learn how to be respectful and also hold boundaries in their own way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch upon that respect aspect of it. So our parents see it as, oh, the boro, এটা তো একটা auntie or uncle, ওদের কথা তো আমাদের তো অবশ্যই শুনতে হবে. But that's their form of respect, or a form of respect. For our generation, it should be, at least for me, it's how you talk to somebody, how you interact with them. Are you being polite to them? Are you being nice to them? Are you being courteous to them? Are you speaking to them in a respectful way? Are you raising your voice at them? Are you talking to them in just an overall respectful way? That's my form of respect. It doesn't matter if it's an uncle, auntie, whatever it is. It's like it's just how you talk to them. That's what it is. It's not a hierarchy thing. Sure, like, am I gonna treat an auntie and uncle that's much older than me, or even like my nanny, like differently than like a little kid? Probably. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the base foundational piece comes back to just how you interact with people, and if you're just nice to them, really. Yeah.
It's how you talk to them and how you also listen.
1000%.
Right? Because like I've tried to have so many conversations with my aunties, uncles, amu, baba, right? And a lot of times they will listen, but they just like it'll go in through one ear and then come out the other, you know? So it's also like our parents can disagree with us. We're not saying you have to agree, but it's also just that understanding, and at the end some form of compromise or exception of like, okay, we are going to have to agree to disagree, right? And I feel like we don't get that within the Bangladeshi community. So yeah, do you have any more to say about mental health in general? We've covered a lot of things, so
focus on your mental health. That's a big thing. I think a lot of people are, especially within the Bangladeshi community, they're like, oh, mental health, like what's that? Well, it's like your day starts with your mental health every single day. Like,
exactly.
It's your brain, literally. Your brain, your emotional health, everything. So every decision you make, every interaction you have, it has to do with your mental health. Yeah. So I gotta focus on it one way or another, and plethora of different ways to do it.
Yeah. Now, is there a moment where you really needed to tell someone, like, whether through any topic of, you know, like, this is me setting my boundary? What was a moment there, if you want to go into detail about it, of like, through someone, like, you know, Bangladeshi in the community, where they were coming at you with what they think is their culture? but you've had to say no, or like whatever it is?
Yeah, I think just like that in general, just like, I'll keep it a little general.
Yeah.
Just aunties and uncles just, or aunties expecting, oh, like you should do this because, you know, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so I had to like kind of think about it. And typically I would say, okay, yeah, sure, like let's just kind of go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think, yeah, more recently I just realized like, no, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And being okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that. I don't have to do that. And it's okay if I don't do that.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't agree with it, it's like, tough luck, honestly. I know that sounds very disrespectful, but it's just, look, if I'm doing this to make sure that it's for self-preservation, then it's like, I don't need to be ashamed of it. Like, it's okay. Because I think within our community and within our culture, because it's so community-oriented, which is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Obviously, I mean, we talked about it at the very beginning, even the certain interactions at community events that we have gone to, it is a wonderful thing. The Bengali community is a wonderful, strong, and proud community. There does need to be a sense of individualism as well, so we can continue to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if we cannot take care of ourselves, then who will, right? Yeah, sure, you can look at, oh, like my wife, my husband, my daughter, mom, all that will take care of me. Okay, sure. That should be more assistive as far as like they're enhancing.
Yes.
But you have to be able to take care of yourself. So I think with that, yeah, I mean, that's why I was able to do that more recently. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm not comfortable. Like, this is not going to put me in a place where I feel good, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, I told them like respectfully / jokingly. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say more recently it happened where culturally is like kind of coming at me of just generational culture.
Yeah.
And I just thought, it's like, nah, I don't want to do it. And I explained the reason to it, and I definitely could have done it better, but it was like my first time doing it in that scenario. But yeah, so.
I love the point that you made about, you know, you have to do it for yourself and not be reliant on anyone else. I think that in Bangladeshi culture gets really missed, where it's like, you know, Baba Mas are always thinking, oh, like, amar meye chele boro hobe, ora to obosshoi amake take care korbe. And I guess to some extent I understand it, and I can agree, but it shouldn't be fully reliant on, you know, like, amar chele meye, they have to listen to me, they have to do X, Y, and Z. Because then there is going back to literally everything from the start, you know, like even with financial independency, your parents can't just think, oh, money-wise, এখন টাকা আমার লাগবে, সব টাকা আমি দিয়ে দিব, they're going to spend it however they want, and then, oh, my bacha kacha, they'll have me, you know, like they'll take care of me at the end. And so everything you're saying is just kind of like, it goes back to everything from having safe spaces for Bangladeshi-Americans, for having like financial literacy. So we've talked about a lot of things today. I'm very grateful for all of the time and the different subjects that we can talk about. Wrapping up here, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, or to every young Bangladeshi American watching this, what would it be?
I'll speak to the camera. Just be patient. Be patient, and that's to my younger self and everyone else. Set your goals and be patient, and it'll all work out eventually. That's the biggest thing, though, just because things don't come to you overnight. Things take time. You have to grind away at it, and a lot of times you're going to fail, and take those failures in stride and learn from them. But continue to be patient, I would say, and just take a breath. Take a breath. And I still have trouble doing that sometimes because I think, oh, like the world's falling apart, this, that, etc. Look, you made it this far, so far in life with everything that you've gone through, and hopefully you can continue to take steps to continue to go further. So just be patient and take a breath.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna take a breath like now. Nishash, আমরা সবাই নিঃশ্বাস একটা নেই for those watching. Let's take a deep breath with us because it's so true. Like sometimes মানুষ like just dom ফেলে না. You know, like it's always just go. Like truly every topic that we've touched upon today, like financials and having community and like mental health and culture, all of these things are so related, right? It's so interconnected, and it's understanding that, okay, if I'm doing one area, hopefully, like, you know, a little bit more mindfully, then it'll translate to everything else.
Yeah.
So really, arekta nishash
This is about to turn into a yoga session.
A meditation
a
right
meditation
now.
session.
But like that's also needed, you know, meditation and just like
1000%.
sitting with your feelings, like you said. Like these things of just let me stop and not be so reliant on other people around me. Like the pressure that I think our aunties and uncles can feel sometimes gets projected onto their kids, right?
1000%.
So,
and I would say, like, with meditation, my Baba, shout out to my Baba on this one.
Uncle.
Uncle, Baba, this one's for you. Well, two things. So it's like with Baba, he told me he doesn't talk as much in the sense of like giving like worldly advice, but when he does, you listen, right? He's like Ridwan, shuno.
My Baba does the same.
Ridwan, shuno. যখন তুমি নামাজ পড়ো এটা হলো একটা form of meditation কারণ যেমন হয় নামাজ পড়ে it's like I'm just like speed running through it, right? And Baba's like, it's a form of meditation, just slow it down. Just slow it down in so many words. And one thing I actually wanted to say was going back to like setting boundaries and like speaking respectfully and whatnot, and like you have to be reliant on you have to be self-reliant, right? That's something that actually my mom taught me, and so which is like really fascinating. And so understanding that better now and understanding certain things better, my relationship with my parents have actually started getting better. Which has been nice. But yeah, shout out to my mom for teaching me to be self-reliant over here. She's
shout out to Auntie too.
Shout out to Auntie as well. So,
well, thank you so much, Ridwan, for all of the different topics of knowledge that you've shared with us today. Is there any last words you want to leave to all of the viewers watching? All the aunties, uncles, nanas, nannies.
Just take a deep breath when things seem tough. But hey, we're Bangladeshi, we're Bengali. Let's be proud of our culture, and let's continue to build this diaspora. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Ridwan. And thank you so much for being with us today. If you're part of this generation chasing dreams, breaking barriers, and building your own path, then this is your story too. I'm Ruponti Wazid, and this is Gen B Diaspora Diaries.